Hey there, welcome back to my daily podcast. I'm Danielle D'Onofrio. Thanks so much for stopping by. This is a daily podcast, and if you're new here, I'm so happy to have you. Feel free to hit that subscribe button so you get alerted when I release new videos. And today we're talking about how to get out of your comfort zone. Now, this sounds like a really simple topic. It's something that you hear about all the time when it comes to healing, personal growth, personal development, achieving your dreams, achieving any goal that you have. People always say, well, you have to get out of your comfort zone. But what does that really mean? What does it mean? What does it feel like to get out of your comfort zone? And the thing I want to talk about today is the fact that you're most likely not going to jump so far out of your comfort zone on the first try, because your body's just not used to it. Your mind's not used to it. And there are some simple things that we can do, some practices in our everyday lives that can help us better understand what it means to get out of our comfort zone, and break the habit and, dare I say, addiction that we have, many people have, when it comes to comfort. Now, I noticed this in myself in recent months, that there's this, we all have this certain level of like comfort or outside our comfort zone. There's like a spectrum, right? And we all have a different degree of discomfort that we're willing to engage with. And for some people, it's really close in to their comfort zone, and other people kind of venture out further, depending on, their upbringing, their history, what they've done in the past, what they're going through right now, how they feel in their life overall. So we all kind of venture out of our comfort zones to varying degrees. And usually the people who are willing to venture the furthest are the people who are most successful, because in order to be successful, you have to be willing to take risks, and you have to be willing to try new things. You have to be able to you have to be willing to do things before you're sure of what the results are going to be. And all of that unpredictability is scary and uncomfortable, right? And it's really just how we interpret how uncomfortable it is, how scary it is, whether, we're immediately willing to go and pursue it. So if you have a goal, or if you're just trying to change your life. So here's the other thing before I get into how to start getting out of your comfort zone. The other thing is that sometimes this doesn't have to just do with achieving a goal, or pursuing your dreams, going after your ambitions. Sometimes it just has to do with getting stuck in certain patterns and cycles in your life, where you start to realize, like, there are things that frustrate me. I am suffering in different ways. These relationships aren't working. Nothing's really changing for the better. I'm not really going anywhere. I'm just stuck where I'm at, and I can't seem to get myself out of this stuckness. So the stuckness, the reason that you're stuck most likely is because you're way too comfortable with whatever it is that's going on in your life right now. Even though your relationships may be dysfunctional, the dysfunction is predictable for you. You're used to it, and it's therefore begun to be a little bit comfortable. Now, you may suffer because of it in some ways, but it's the predictability that makes us comfortable. At least we know what to expect, right? That's what the mind tells us when it's trying to keep us safe. Like, at least it knows that even though the people we're hanging out with are dysfunctional, or this job isn't right for us, or, I really want to I don't know, I really want to change something in my house, but I'm not sure how it's going to look, right? We may be frustrated or suffering in certain areas of life, but at least we know what to expect. At least we're not putting ourselves in a situation where we're going to do something and we don't know what the outcome is going to be, and the outcome could potentially be dangerous. There's a lot of just standard human instincts involved in this. And if you're stuck, it's because you've just become comfortable with the way things are, the status quo. And a lot of times, maybe all of the time, the way to get out of your stuckness and the way to start moving towards your dreams is to be willing to get a little bit uncomfortable. Just know that, okay, you want to go try a new activity, join a club, go to an event, and let's say you're going to be by yourself and you're afraid it's going to be awkward. Just go, embracing the awkward, saying, I know this might be awkward, but I'm okay with that, right? And For some people, that's going to feel easy. And to some other people, that's going to feel like the scariest possible thing that they could do. Like they won't even, broach the topic because the awkwardness is just too painful. Now, here's what you can do is you can start small. What I started to notice in my life was that I had actually become quite, I guess you could say, addicted. I was in the habit of being comfortable. And at first, this didn't show up as a problem. It just showed up as me liking to be home a lot, liking to be cozy in my pajamas in bed with my cozy blankets and reading a book, and really liking to keep my circle smaller, just a few friends, and just a much smaller circle, because dealing with a lot of people, can be complicated. And just disengaging from certain activities that I was doing. And I just had started to create, at the time, what I thought was a much just kind of quieter, simpler life, that was just more peaceful and more comfortable. And, that went on for quite some time. And I'm sure in the grand scheme of my journey that will have played some important role. But what happens is eventually when you start to feel like you can't get out of it, or like whatever I've created, in those new habits is starting to make me feel stuck and non-productive, and unfulfilled in certain ways, I had to really start to go backwards on some of those initial pursuits. I have this crazy, I guess, analogy when it comes to like pumping gas, putting gas in your car in the winter. I hate to pump gas in the winter. Like, I will avoid it at all costs. I'll ask my husband to do it for me. I'll, drive the car until I'm on E and the light goes on, because I hate to like get out of the car in the dead of winter when it's like windy and whatever, 20 degrees. And I hate the feeling of like the cold on my legs, like through my jeans, for example. And just that thought of the discomfort of being cold will actually drive me to a point, no pun intended, drive me to a point where I will avoid going to pump the gas. And now, like, it will actually drive my behavior. It will actually impact how long I go without getting gas in my car. And I kind of started to have that realization that I can't go and just deal with my legs getting cold when I'm pumping gas in my car. Like, if I can't even handle that, how am I going to do all of these other things that I want to do in my life that are going to require a lot more discomfort than being cold pumping gas? And it sounds ridiculous, but I know, like, I do a lot of things with my life. I'm writing all the time. I'm on social media. I homeschool my kids. I start clubs. I do tons of different things, right? But I have greater ambitions than the things that I'm currently doing. So I have to look at why I'm not doing them, or why I, come up against this resistance. And I really do think it becomes habitual. The comfort becomes habitual, becomes an addiction, and we have to start retraining our mind that we are safe even if we get a little bit uncomfortable. Because I think that's what it comes down to, is we're always trying to make ourselves feel safe, and especially the subconscious mind. It's always trying to keep us alive. And it perceives things like a lack of predictability, or the unknown, doing things where you don't know the outcome. It perceives those things as being actually dangerous for us. And a lot of the times, most of the time, they're not actually dangerous for us. They're just uncomfortable, right? We're just going to maybe feel awkward or embarrassed, or you may fail at something. Those things are all things that we can cope with. And if we're not willing to risk those kinds of things, we're just going to stand still where we're at right now. And if you're not happy with where you're at right now, or you're suffering or struggling or frustrated, or you're getting older and realizing that you're not pursuing your dreams, you can really, it's a problem. And you can really start small, getting used to getting uncomfortable again. And I'm 40 right now, and there was a time in my life, I have a certain degree. I think I have a pretty good degree of, being willing to get uncomfortable in different areas of life. But there was a time in my life, let's say 15, 20 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago, where I just had a greater threshold for getting uncomfortable, putting myself out there, working like myself, working hard, like overworking. I don't want to say overworking. What's the word? Like just really grinding, working late at night, on projects. I was willing to go harder. And then I think, for me, I think the turning point was when I became a stay-at-home mom and I left my sort of fast-paced, high-pressure career to be home with my kids. And all of a sudden, life slowed down a lot. I was home a lot. I wasn't having to put out fires at work or deal with, difficult personalities at work. I wasn't having to like stand up in front of a room and give presentations anymore or deal with difficult clients or, come up with solutions to challenges. All of a sudden, life slowed down a lot. And I just fell out of the habit of pushing hard and getting uncomfortable. And I still, like I said, I still did a lot of things. Still, I'm a writer and a content creator. I still did a lot of those things, but I 100% held myself back in ways that have stalled the progress on certain projects and certain initiatives of mine. And so, the journey unfolds as it unfolds. Like we get these insights about ourselves and about our paths just as we get the insights. Like you can't rush it. They show up when they're meant to show up, right? So I can say right now, gosh, I wish I just realized this like 5, 6, 7 years ago, right? But at least I realized it now. And I'm sure there was some reason in the universe that I was supposed to travel the path the way I've traveled it right now. But since I have realized like I said, in recent months that there are areas where I really need to be willing to get a little bit more uncomfortable if I want to move certain projects forward. That's just a really, really great insight. And so what I can do now, like I said, is I can practice getting uncomfortable in little ways in my everyday life. I gave you the pumping gas example, but another example is just like I tend to, avoid going to the store sometimes. I mean, I'm out shopping and doing things all the time, but if I can avoid a trip to the store and group a trip to the store with, another trip that I have to do later in the week, I'll get as efficient as possible and I'll put off something that an errand that I have to run or something I need to pick up. I'll put it off as long as I can. Instead of just saying, what, I'm gonna get it done right now. I'm gonna just like put on my shoes, put on my jacket, turn on the car and go and just go get it done. That ends up being more efficient, but just the discomfort of like, I don't feel like it right now. I think that, that's sort of how staying in your comfort zone will show up. It'll be like, you should probably do something, right? There's something that you have to get done. It's been on your list forever, but you're procrastinating. And the thing that shows up is like, I don't feel like doing this right now, or it's not worth it. Or it can wait for later. But the problem is that we keep saying those things and it's really not that hard to get them done if we just one foot right after the other, go and do it. And then after you get it done, you're gonna feel so great. You might feel a little bit uncomfortable or awkward, but you're gonna feel so much better having been productive and done the thing. So that's really what I wanted to talk to you guys about today is getting outside your comfort zone. The reason that they say growth doesn't happen inside your comfort zone is because in order for growth to happen, you have to try new things. You have to do things differently. You have to take risks, and none of those things are going to be entirely comfortable, right? And like I said, everyone's comfort zone is a different size. Some people are real way close in, and other people are willing to go to sort of different thresholds. And even if they're willing to go to different thresholds, if there's something more and something bigger than they want to do, they're going to have to go even further, and that's going to be uncomfortable for them. So we all have some sort of comfort zone threshold that we're trying to get past. It's just depending on how distant that next threshold is from where you're at right now, And I really wish healing and growth for all of you guys, and that means we have to just take those steps, take those risks, be willing to be awkward or a little nervous. And awkwardness and nervousness isn't going to hurt you, right? It's going to help you grow because you're going to learn how to cope with the awkwardness and the nervousness. You're going to learn that, hey, you can survive awkwardness and nervousness. And the next time you have to face one of those challenges, it's not going to feel as challenging or as uncomfortable. And then you're going to have to push the threshold of your comfort zone even more, right? So I wish you guys success, and I think all of us together, we can support each other to go further, because I think that's what life is all about. We always want to grow and go further and explore our potential. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but for me, when I lose touch with my desire to explore my potential, life gets really boring. And boredom for me, I've said before on the channel, boredom for me slips very quickly into like depression. So I have to be exploring my potential. And the second I start to come up against a roadblock, that's when I have to say, okay, what is it that I'm unwilling to do right now because I'm scared? And usually that's the thing that has to happen to move forward. So I think that's it for today. That's my message for you for today on my daily podcast. Again, welcome if it's your first time here. This podcast comes out every evening, maybe sometimes in the morning. I do it when I can get, my time in my day. And I just wanted to share with you, every day I want to share with you what's on my mind, just what's showing up for me in my life, the insights that I have. And, hopefully you can kind of just listen to those stories and apply them to your own life, or they'll inspire you to come up with your own insights. And then, the key when you come up with an insight is to assess it and then act on it. Is there a change that you have to make? Is it something that you should keep doing or you should stop doing? Is it just something that you can learn about yourself so that you can, handle yourself, your thoughts, your behaviors differently when different circumstances show up? So here's to getting out of our comfort zones and growing and living our best lives. Thanks again for stopping by. Again, if you're new here, consider subscribing so you get alerted when I release these new podcast episodes. And if this video was helpful in any way, I'd love for you to hit that thumbs up or the like button, whatever it looks like on YouTube these days. Forget which platform I'm talking on. And if you have any questions or comments or, examples of getting out of your comfort zone that you'd like to share with me, definitely leave a comment down below and I will definitely get back to you because I love to connect with the community on here. So that's it for today. It is, let's see, what day is it? It's January 3rd. So this is daily podcast number 3. I'm doing this every day in 2025 and day 3 in the books. Okay, so take care and I will catch you tomorrow.